Hey there, Emmanuel here. Welcome back to the Tech with Tourist channel. In this one, I want to go over why I think that Neovim is better than VSCode, and most importantly, I'm going to make the statement that Neovim is for sure better than VSCode if you are a programmer. Now, I know that a lot of people are beginners, and in that case, sure, you can use VSCode. That was my case. But if you already have some experience, I don't really see a point to using VSCode at this point, especially with all of the features that Neovim already offers out of the box. So let's start with the first point, which is you can change everything and you are in control of your tools. So I don't really see a positive reason for me to leave my workflow or leave my tools to someone else's control and not want to have the ability to modify it. So first of all, your config is code Lua, which is a simple language. It is easy to understand, and you also have AI agents nowadays, so there's really no excuse. And we have config as code instead of hidden settings files all over the place, settings in JSON keys that you need to figure out what they are. You need to search for things. It is very complex to work with a tool in that way instead of having code, which means that you can add logic to it. You can call things outside of the configuration file and you can modify things to their core. Also, if you dislike a behavior, you can rewrite it. This applies to Neovim itself. It also applies to any kind of plugin. You can just fork it, and they are very easy to understand since Lua code is very simple. And again, there's no excuse since today we have AI agents to take care of that for us. If you need a feature, you can build it. The previous video I just made was about how you can use AI agents, in this case Claude Code, to build Neovim plugins and how much power comes with that, because you don't need to even know the API anymore. I still think you should. You should understand how Neovim works under the hood, but that's only if you want to go the extra mile, I would say. Otherwise, it is more than enough for you to just say, I want to use Neovim, I'm going to install it, I'll use Kickstart or some kind of distribution and go with that. And you can ask Claude Code, hey, I need this kind of particular feature inside of Neovim, can you please build me a plugin? That is very simple to do. VS Code lets you tweak settings, but Neovim lets you rebuild the entire engine. This means that VS Code, yes, it lets you customize some things here and there, but once you actually need some kind of particular workflow, once you need some kind of actual functionality to be changed, it is very difficult to do so, and good luck with trying to go into the code and trying to modify things yourself, especially if you use some kind of fork of VS Code like Cursor, then there's really no hope for you. Just a couple of months ago, I remember trying Cursor to see how their AI agent worked, and I wanted to do something so simple. In that case was I wanted to have a key bind or a keyboard shortcut binded to a set of actions. So once I click that keyboard shortcut, I wanted a list of things to happen. Impossible. Since that thing that I wanted to happen was not exposed, good luck with that. There was no way to do that. I had to manually run 3 different commands each time that I wanted to do something over and over again, every single time, and it just makes my work much harder. So again, I don't really see a reason at this point to use VS Code instead of Neovim. Second, your hands stay on the keyboard. Every action has a key bind, so change inside the change inside word, DD deletes a line, GG jumps to the top, capital G jumps to the bottom, change inside quotation marks or quote marks changes everything inside of that, and then gets into insert mode. The key bindings are the best part about this, but they are not the only one. We saw in the previous slide, I think that Neovim has the advantage also in terms of configuration. So even though you can use these key bindings inside of VS Code, they are first of all not native to VS Code. So a lot of functionality that you can have inside of Neovim in VS Code you simply cannot have. Even the things that do kind of work are very messy. So for example, navigating the file explorer, I remember that being terrible, and then just the overall feel of how snappy it is, just not the same thing. Continuing here with this, moving through code feels like playing an instrument, so it is very much something that you have to learn. The first weeks are challenging, but some time passes by, you start to understand exactly how it works, and then it becomes second nature. At this point, I don't even think about hopping into Neovim, hopping through code, changing code, doing things inside of Neovim. It is just second nature. I don't even need to think about it. And I remember taking I would say a couple of months to be able to sort of navigate through Vim or Neovim at that point in time, and after that it just becomes something that you learn and then it stays with you forever, which is just like programming. I mean, this concept that okay, I'm not going to learn this thing because it is going to take me some time to learn, Vim is hard, blah blah, those are all valid points, but those are also valid points in terms of programming. If you're watching this, more likely than not you are a programmer, so you still had to spend time learning it, right? And then it becomes second nature, everything like constant variable, how to think about functions and whatnot become second nature. In the same way, I don't really see a point in this argument of, okay, so this is going to take me some time to learn. Of course, it's part of the toolkit and it makes a lot of sense to learn, just like with everything else. Programming, now AI agents have their own way of working. We need to learn them. Everything needs to be learned, and then you'll get the benefits after. The API also gives you a lot of control. So Lua API with clear, consistent design. It is very simple to understand. Even if you manually need to do something, you can hook into any editor event. You have auto commands, user commands, custom key maps. You can read buffers, modify text, control the windows programmatically. So basically you can hook it to everything that you can think of, and you can build anything you can think of. So if you want to build a to-do list tracker, something that I remember building manually at the time, not with AI agent, but a tracker that look at all of the comments that I had inside of my code base with to-do. And then I had something like a key binding that would show me something like Fugitive. If you're not familiar, a plugin that interacts with Git, but instead of showing me Git stuff, I would just have it show me like the list of items that I need to complete inside of that code base with the to-do comments, with the descriptions and all of those things. And it was easier for me to navigate through different things that a code base had to like be improved upon, basically. And by using Neovim, I was able to build this as a first class citizen inside of the code base, inside of the editor, and not have to worry about VS Code. In this case, VS Code's API asks permission. It doesn't even, like I said, doesn't even expose a lot of things. It simply doesn't even cares about exposing a lot of things, because that is not the goal of VS Code. It might be a great tool for what it does, but in this sense, it's just miles. Neovim is miles ahead, and it's not even a comparison. Neovim hands you the keys and lets you do everything that you need, which is great if you want to actually own your tools and own your workflow. Plugins that solve real problems. So we have these ones which are very popular inside of the Neovim ecosystem. Telescope, fuzzifying anything. Again, the keyword here is anything. I've just, in the last video, I encourage you to go watch that video. But if I hop here really quickly and I say Neovim, I'm going to do this. And as you can see, I have here two different workspaces in JJ. And I can hop between these workspaces by using Telescope. And not only that, but then Telescope also takes care of knowing exactly in which workspace I'm in. And all of this was done with AI agents. Again, go watch the previous video in this channel. And I integrated this with Telescope. Telescope can help me do this. I can just hook into it. I can use it, extend it, use it for the things that I need, and I don't need to worry about it. Next, LSP, same language intelligence as VS Code under your control. So you have all of those tools with autocomplete, with all those nice things. If you still type manually inside of your editor, I'm assuming you don't. But anyways, we still have LSPs, three-seater, syntax, understanding through parsing, not regex, and much faster also, so that's also a plus. And three-seater also integrates very nicely with other tools like AST grep, which is also like not three-seater itself, but is based on the same thing on the abstract syntax tree. So by using this tool three-seater, you also sort of get an understanding of other important tools inside of your toolkit as a programmer. Then we have Lazy and Vim for plugin management, and contributors build what they use. So this ecosystem is much richer, I think, than VS Code. VS Code also has a lot of plugins, but I think that in general the quality of the plugins is not as good, and the plugins in Neovim are much more specific to one thing. They do one thing well, and you can extend them, reuse them for your own needs. You don't have like a just one, I would say, plugin to do a very specific thing for a very specific tool. Instead, you have these all-encompassing tools that lets you just do anything. Like I said, three-seater, syntax, parsing, not just highlighting, but indenting, other kinds of things, even like smart actions inside of the editor. And Telescope also same thing, and these tools are just wonderful. And the thing that I also want to add next to this is that you can also use AI agents to write plugins for you. This is because we have today something like Cloud Code, Codex, doesn't really matter, but since it is text-based configuration, AI reads and writes it directly. The simple file structure means that there's no hidden state, and AI understands your entire setup in one prompt, because you have something like a .files directory. There you have all of your Lua configuration, and it is very simple to understand. You can just say, build me a plugin that does X, and it produces produces working code very easily, and this means that there's really no excuse for you to just install a distribution, something that already comes prepared, and then just use AI agents to customize the workflow for exactly what you need. You can customize the workflow even to combine it with certain tools like Cloud Code, like Open Code, and it is just perfect for that. Now, the trade-offs here is that learning takes dedicated practice, then you edit faster than before. Your editor belongs to you. It runs everywhere, SSH containers, all hardware. Now, this is not honestly something that matters that much to me, and it stays fast, no electron overhead, which is just something that I consistently get amazed by the fact that, for example, Cursor, I remember again using it a couple of months ago, and it was just running one or two agents, like doing stuff, not really sure what, like reading files, writing files, doing network calls, and it was consuming so much CPU in my laptop that the fans were spinning. You see this here, so there's now like what GPU being used, fans are like barely spinning, and they were spinning much more than this. Like the computer was running with a lot more heat, and it was just doing something as simple as a loop that reads files, write files, and again, it doesn't happen at all with Neovim. I can have as many instances as I want. I have Cloud Code running, whether inside of Neovim with something like Sidekick, or just running it in a different tab, which is something that I usually do, and there's no problem with running it inside of this laptop, so I think that's also a bonus. So here to compare and see here the pros and cons. So the speed with VS Code Neovim is much faster. I honestly don't really think, like I went over that a bit just now, but I still think that this is not really the ultimate reason. Even if Neovim was just as slow, like I said, CPU stuff and blah blah blah, I still think that I would use Neovim because of the rest of the things here. Customization unlimited. This is like, I would say this is the ultimate reason for it. It's just a customization. Even Zed, like Zed, good editor, it is fast, has good stuff going for it, but still it is not customizable to a degree that Neovim is, so that's a no for me. So to customize it, I basically need to edit the Rust code, and it's just something that I'm not going to do or take the time to do, just to be able to, I don't know, have the UI of Zed or something like that. Keyboard optional here, it is central. Plugins, there's a marketplace here, it is community driven. Awesome thing also about it, it is not under the control of a company. There doesn't need to have like marketplaces, even if open source one. So there's just much more, it is much simpler. You either like pass a directory inside of your local machine, or you specify a Git repository and it knows what to do with it, and you're good to go. And it is also AI friendly. VS Code very limited when it comes to that. Neovim quote unquote native, because Neovim is all based on Lua configurations. There's no UI to configure, there's none of that stuff, so it is just much better. And in terms of creating plugins, I think that Cloud Code, in my case, which is the one that I've been using, just shines when it comes to that. Again, go watch the previous video where I talk about that. So you can start by, first of all, installing Neovim, then you find a config you like, and then you make it yours. I recommend you use kickstart.nvim. I'm going to leave a link in the description down below. You can just clone that, start using it. I know how to configure my Neovim setup well enough, but I still use that. At some point I just wanted to like revamp things, and I said, why not use something like that? Or you can use a distribution. I think there's lazy.vim. You can just Google them, and there's a lot of them. And it is easy to get started with those instead of you having to set up everything from scratch. And that way you can just, like it says here, find a config you like, and then you make it yours with what I would consider the best way to start, which is kickstart.nvim. So yeah, this is it. These are the reasons that I think Neovim is the best editor for programmers. Much better than VS Code, hands down. I don't really care about like other people's opinions on this, because yeah, for beginners, sure. If you're just new to programming, it's too much to think about at once. You don't want to like be thinking about keyboard driven code editing and blah, blah blah. But after you start like getting the hang of it and you start working with it, I mean, just the fact that it is so customizable, it is so like keyboard centric, and honestly the customizability, because I think that if Zed were to be as customizable as Neovim is, even with the keyboard navigation, I would maybe still use it, because it has a Vim mode, but just this ability to customize and to extend, it's just top notch, and there's nothing as good out there. So yeah, this is the reason why. And just to conclude, AI agents, no excuse right now, because you don't know how to configure your Neovim, ask Cloud Code. You don't know how to do this with Neovim, ask Cloud Code. And you don't know how to customize something, again, ask Cloud Code. So there's really no excuse at the moment. So this is it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you on the next one.